What up, though? This is from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, the online encyclopedia that allows anonymous people to contribute. Now, why would you allow anonymous people to contribute and not just compile the facts and list them as best as you can? Well, we're not going to get into that today because that's not important. Just a little background on Wikipedia. It's not, by some people's estimation, a credible source. However, if we need to know, say, for instance, a country singer, and we go to Wikipedia, 9 times out of 10, Wikipedia gonna tell you what their name is and when they was born. And if they was born in Cleveland or New York or Oakland, wherever. So we use it for things like that and to peel back the layers. And in doing so, we going to paint a little picture. Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. Linda Martell. Linda Martell, born Thelma Bynum, June 4th, 1941, is an American singer. I ain't say nothing about black, but listen, she became the first commercially successful black female artist in the country music field and the first to play the Grand Ole Opry. Let's continue. As one of the first African American country performers, Martell helped influence the careers of future Nashville artists of color. Listen to this. What I'm about to say is really not even, doesn't have anything to do with the point of why we here today. But listen to this. Listen to how you are turned into a bunch of things that you never agreed to. Okay? Listen. She is an American singer. Okay? American. The only American it ever was, is, and will be. She became the first commercially successful black female. Now she black. As one of the first African American country performers. Now she's African American. Martell helped influence the careers of future Nashville artists of color. Now she's an artist of color. See? In one paragraph, they labeled this woman 3 misnomers. They got it right when they said American. But then after that, they jumped out the window, right? It said she became the first commercially successful, meaning she was successful to her people. Okay? Some of y'all may have heard of this person, Linda Martell, through the new Beyonce, what is it, Country Carter, this new awakening of Americans associating themselves back with their, I guess you would say, country or cowboy roots and things of this nature, and learning that a lot of people learning that the cowboy and the Indian is the same people. Yes, the same people. Me personally, my perspective is that blues, R&B, gospel, country. It's all the same thing to me. It's all the same. It's Americans doing their thing. Let's shake it. Linda Martell, born Thelma Bynum, June 4th, 1941, is an American singer. It's born and raised in South Carolina. Martell listened to country, gospel, and R&B music. She became the first commercially successful black female artist in the country music field and the first to play the Grand Ole Opry. Properly, the first commercially successful American or American Indian female artist. As one of the first American country performers, she helped influence careers of future Nashville Americans. Born and raised in South Carolina, Martell listened to country, gospel, and R&B music. Thelma Bynum was born June 4th, 1941, as one of 5 children born to Clarence and Willie Mae Bynum in Leesville, South Carolina. Her father was a sharecropper, while her mother worked many hours at a chicken slaughterhouse. This is Linda Martell, or Thelma Bynum. Is that her name? Thelma Bynum? Let's see. Thelma Bynum, Linda Martell. I don't know why the name changed, but many of our people changed their names. If you go back to early census records, you'll see that the census enumerators wrote as best they could what we would term an anglicized version of what our people told them their name was. Did you hear me? They wrote down what they best understood. Now, at a certain point, the census enumerators were people from the community that our people lived in. So they may have been familiar with the sound that was coming out of our people's mouths when they told them what their name was. But sometimes they was foreigners who was coming to do census enumerations. And imagine your people in rural Alabama telling somebody what their name is, and that person, only familiar with the English that they was taught, tried to write down that person's name in an anglicized way, in a more English spelling. And that person, your people, because they didn't read and write, which it wasn't necessary to read and write. If you're a blacksmith, what you got to know how to read and write for? If you know how to build a house, what you need to know how to read and write for? If you self-sufficient and taking care of you and your family, what's the purpose of reading and writing? So a rural Alabaman, somebody from rural Alabama telling somebody, mind you, this person, your relative, never wrote down their name and they never read their name nowhere. They telling them their name or what they people call them, and the enumerator wrote it down as best as possible. So over time that name changed, and all of a sudden our people, they rolled out with one of those spellings. Once they or their children or their grandchildren learned how to read and write and start writing their name, and they rolled out with that spelling. So Thelma Bynum, there she is, the first American female country singer, one of the first. We don't know who the first was. You think she was it said commercially the first. You think there's nobody else in this woman family that came before her was doing what she do? Of course they were. Here we go. Wikipedia again. We're just trying to get these people named, basically. We're not trying to dig. Okay. Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, DeFord Bailey. DeFord Bailey, December 14th, born December 14th, 1899, died July 2nd, 1982, was an American old-time musician and songwriter considered to be the first African-American country music star. So they began correct. He was an American, the only American it ever was, is, and will be. Old-time musician and songwriter considered to be the first African-American country music star. Properly, the first American country music star. One of the first performers to be introduced on Nashville radio station WSM's Grand Ole Opry. He was the first American, it say African American, but we gonna correct him. I'm not gonna go in there and contribute anonymously. I'm gonna correct him right now. He was the first American performer to appear on the show and the first performer to record his music in Nashville. Bailey was born and raised in Tennessee. All his family played black hillbilly country, okay? All his family played American hillbilly country, okay? So when you think of a hillbilly, it ain't a red neck. And if the neck is red, they referring to a copper-colored tinted red, a red bone, okay? Let's get these things together. Let's put these things in their proper perspective. All his family played hillbilly country and blues music. And he learned how to play the harmonica and mandolin while recuperating from polio as a young child. So he recuperating from polio, can't really move, ain't really that mobile. So he started teaching himself the harmonica and mandolin. DeFord Bailey was born on December 14th, 1899, near the Bellwood community in Carthage, Smith County, Tennessee. At least one of his grandfathers had been enslaved. They gotta keep the lie alive. What do that mean, enslaved? Do that mean at least one of them was working for somebody else, for the benefit of someone else? All of his family was involved in music. A grandfather was a fiddler, and his mother, who died when he was about a year old, played guitar. Another brother learned banjo. Bailey learned to play the harmonica and mandolin at the age of 3. At the age of 3, born 1899. DeFord Bailey. Here he is. The gentleman DeFord Bailey. One of your ancestors, one of your relatives. Maybe you from Tennessee. DeFord Bailey. Couple pictures we saw him in. He's sharp. Talented. DeFord Bailey, a black star in early country music, or properly an American star, and properly an American in country music. Yeah, they can keep that star business. Okay, DeFord Bailey. Okay. Wikipedia. Okay. Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. Shaboozey. Collins Obina, Shibwezi, born May 9th, 1995, known professionally as Shaboozey, is an American singer and rapper. His music combines country, Americana, and hip-hop. It says Shaboozey is an American. Following the releases of his first 2 albums, Lady Wrangler 2018 and Cowboys Live Forever, Outlaws Never Die 2022, Shaboozey was featured on 2 songs from Beyonce's album Cowboy Carter 2024. They say Shaboozey is an American singer and rapper. Collins Obina Shibweze. They call him an American. Let's see. Shibweze was born and raised in Woodbridge, Virginia, in the Washington metropolitan area. His parents are Igbo Nigerians. His father was a farmer in Nigeria who attended college in Texas. Okay, so his parents are Igbo Nigerians, which means Shaboozey or Collins Obina Shibweze or Shaboozey, the American singer, is in fact properly a Igbo Nigerian. In his childhood, he was inspired by hip hop music videos on 106 and Park, as well as his father's cowboy style of dress and love of country music, his Igbo Nigerian father. For junior high, he spent 2 years at a boarding school in Nigeria. For junior high, he spent 2 years at a boarding school in Nigeria. This is who they are referring to, Shaboozey, as an American singer. Okay? The identity theft continues. Shaboozey's second studio album, Cowboys Live Forever, Outlaws Never Die, was released in October 2022. On the album, Shaboozey attempts to highlight the common themes between contemporary hip hop and 19th century outlaw music in the American frontier. Now, how would Shaboozey know anything about the common themes? To be honest with you, how could he get that from the soil? How could he resonate with that which came from the American soil? Shaboozey received nominations: Best Country Song, Best Country Solo Performance, Best Country Duo Group Performance, Best Country Solo Performance. Now, we saw the first American female and the first American male. Well, when we're speaking of first, we're speaking of commercially, we're speaking of music business situations. Because as we know, DeFord, the homie DeFord, his family all was talented musicians. So they didn't want no shine. They weren't shines. Okay? They didn't want no shine. And then when we move closer to today, we get Shaboozey, the Igbo Nigerian, who you see on your screen. He looks dramatically different from DeFord and the sister at the beginning, the country singer, the sister. It's something different. It doesn't scream American to me. How about you? How about you? Does it scream American to you? I think not. But this is where we are. So as long as we don't fall for it, we should be all right. Do the right thing.